Over the last few sessions, we've been looking at how John the Baptist brought this message of baptism, of repentance, of the forgiveness of sins, of salvation, of evidencing that there's that journey. And what we're beginning to see as well is that his message was the kingdom of heaven is near. And Luke goes on in chapter 3, in verses 4 to 6, to begin to talk about the fulfillment of the Isaiah 40 Forerunner prophecy. And that was a prophecy that said there would be a voice calling in the wilderness, make straight paths for the Lord. John's calling as the Forerunner is an important part that's reflected in all four Gospels. All four Gospels at this point in the story go back to make it absolutely clear that John is the Forerunner. And what we have to ask ourselves is, why do they want us to understand at this point that John is this Forerunner? In 681 BC, Isaiah prophesied that there would be this voice of one calling in the wilderness. And that sense of the Forerunner, he's recognising that there needs to be somebody coming to announce the coming of the King. And Luke is taking that passage that all four of the Gospels want us to understand that John is coming as the Forerunner, but Luke unpacks it in a little bit more detail, and he wants us as readers to have absolutely no doubt that John is fulfilling this role. And why is that? And the reason is he wants us to understand that 681 years of waiting, 681 BC, that all of those years of waiting, the dream is now becoming a reality. And what we see in this passage today, what we want to bring out is that John is coming to prepare the way for the King arriving. In other words, he's coming and he's rolling out the red carpet. He's heralding the arrival of the King with all of the pageantry that goes with a royal visit. A couple of years ago, I had the privilege of meeting the Princess Royal and getting to speak to her. I work for a Christian charity, and every year we go to the House of Lords and we invite people to come so we can tell the story of changed lives. And we can invite people to support the work that we do. And because it was our 60th anniversary as a trust, the Princess Royal came to our 60th anniversary celebrations in the House of Lords. And I got to meet with her and talk to her a little bit about the work we were doing. But before she came, for 24 hours or so before then, we were meeting with people who had been planning her visit for months. We met with them and we were told what the rules of engagement were. We were told how she would meet us, we were told how she would arrive, how we were to address her, how we were to talk to her, and the protocol for meeting royalty. A number of years ago, probably 12 years ago now, I had the privilege of going to 10 Downing Street and meeting the Prime Minister. And again, when you go to something as prestigious as that, you get told that there's certain rules and certain things that you have to do. I had to have a special pass to be allowed through security. I had to surrender my phone into the phone security bank on arrival. You know, a policeman meets you on the door and that allows you access. There's a protocol to meeting somebody important. Now, you might have views about royalty, you might have views about the Prime Minister, but for both of those important members of state, there was both a preparation and an honour that was required in order to meet them. And what we see John's role is to create that sense of preparation, of rolling out the red carpet ready to meet royalty. All four Gospels make it clear that John sees himself as just a voice. He's the herald blowing the trumpet, like that royal trumpeter giving the fanfare going toot, 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 the royalty is arriving. And I guess my question is, how would you prepare for a guest of honour? If you got told that the Queen was coming to tea with you tomorrow, would you hoover the house? Would you clean away the things you didn't want her to see? Would you get your best china out? Would you go and buy new china? Would you get loose leaf tea in a tea strainer in order to make some special royal tea? Whatever you might think, I think we would all have that sense of this is something special where we need to prepare for the arrival and prepare to receive an important guest. And John is preparing the crowds for the coming king. But he's doing more than that. He's preparing people to personally meet the king. He's challenging people to prepare their hearts. And if you think of the importance that Jesus is giving, that he announces in Malachi, that he's sending this messenger ahead of him, that in Isaiah we see this messenger coming, how much honour do you give to Jesus? How much preparation do you make to meet with the King of Kings? We have this sense in our evangelical Christianity that we can approach Father as Abba and bounce up to him and sit on his lap and talk to him, and there's something very true and special and powerful about that. But he's also the King of Kings. He's also that sense of the royalty of God, that sense of coming before a God who deserves honour and respect and awe. He deserves a place of honour. We can take our relationship with God for granted, or we can prepare our hearts to recognise the royalty of the King of Kings coming to live with you and me. How are your hearts prepared to meet with the King?